Tonight's broadcast is made possible by Strack & Van Til, your favorite Indiana-made grocery store. Ironworkers Local 395, proud to be union. Four Seasons Mechanical, quality and comfort is our guarantee. Boilermakers Local 374, earn while you learn. IBEW Local 697, proud to support high school sports. Bricklayers Local 4, the best hands in the business. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and cozy in the winter. The Right Group, the right way to buy and sell real estate. Mark Macknick, Chicagoland Tax Professionals. Blythe's Team Sports, where the athlete shops. And Hampton Inn, downtown Indianapolis. This is the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
And good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Game Day on the Region Sports Network. We come to you today from LaPorte High School as the Region Sports Network presents live audio coverage of the Indiana High School Girls Basketball Class 4A Semi-State as the Crown Point Bulldogs are set to face the Knights of Norwell, the number 6 team in Class 4A. Michael Brenner here on site at LaPorte High School to bring you the play-by-play of this afternoon's game. And along with me is royalty himself, Wally McCormick. Wally, good to be with you again as always. I'm ready for a fun afternoon. We're hoping for a fun evening as well.
Yeah, if this game's anything like the first game, it'll be exciting.
Yeah, we had fans all over this gym. Almost packed to the rafters. You had to go potentially move your car because you don't know where the best parking is going to be available. I'm surprised
the dentist office was not the best part, apparently.
Apparently not the best spot. Yeah, I mean parking.
They frown upon that there.
Parking is at a premium here at LaPorte today. So if you're coming for the game, get here ASAP. And then if you're coming for tonight's action as well, again, get here as soon as possible because you may want to get here right after this game or something, or just stay. Don't go anywhere. Stay in the gym, because it is going to be a packed house. We got royalty all over the gym. We're noticing dignitaries and coaches from all over the place. Coaches that have brought their teams to watch this as well. I'm seeing coaches from Valpo and Crown Point, and I saw some Lake Central players as well as I was just kind of walking the halls to take things in. This means something to have a region team in this semi-state.
Yeah, and the other teams, Norwell's not that far away. Northridge is pretty close. McCutcheon, that's quite a drive. But most of the Duneland teams are represented here today, looking at most of their coaching staffs. It's this is what you want to get to, right? So you bring your young players here and show them this is the environment that you want to play for. This is what we're striving for. And for Crown Point, being as young as they are, this is always the goal. But I don't know that a lot of people would have thought at the beginning of the season that this young team that's only got 2 seniors on the roster would be playing here in the semi-state with an opportunity to go to state finals, but here we are.
Not that I don't think you ever rebuild in high school sports, right? But you have certain levels that, or certain grades that may, stand out above other grades and stuff like that. You may have 1 star in a grade level, and that might be it, and then other years you might have 3 or 4. This kind of gives the impression for this Crown Point team like maybe a ahead of schedule. Maybe the younger players are kind of coming up and they're exceeding expectations, and that's what you want if you're Coach Stengel here right now, because if your players are playing at this high a level as sophomores and juniors, wait till their juniors and senior years.
Yeah, and I think part of that is that kids are coming into high school more ready than they have been due to the amount of time they're playing AAU basketball and club time. And I think, if you're talking about Crown Point's a perfect example. Their 2 middle school coaches are Chris Seibert, who's won a state championship, and Coach Ritchie. You're talking about 2 varsity guys that have been around. And the better programs, the teams that are making runs, are the teams that from top to bottom have it. We talked a little bit about Lake Central earlier before the broadcast with Dave Malosnik coaching and Scott Freckleton coaching. Those guys are invaluable, and when your programs can get them to stay working with your young kids, you got a shot of being good over and over again.
Yeah, there's no question about that. There is coaching royalty in the region. There's no question about it. We're going to step aside for just a moment. On the other side of the break, we'll start breaking down this Crown Point-Norwell matchup for a chance to go to the semi-state championship game later this evening. We'll step aside. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Have you heard? Strachan-Manteau was voted Best of the Region 2025 in several categories, including Best Caterer, Deli, Flower Shop, Food and Grocery Delivery, Fried Chicken, Place to Buy Produce, Place to Buy Seafood, Loyalty Program, and Grocery Store. We're proud to be recognized by our community, and we're committed to continuing to deliver the variety, value, and convenience you deserve. See for yourself what it means to be the best when you shop at Strachan-Manteau.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Can't wait for summer, but dreading the heat because your old AC let you down? Don't sweat it out this summer. Call Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. The professionals there can fix you up. Install a central air unit that'll last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable. And with a 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Give them a call at 219-923-4441 or check them out on the web at 4ajobdoneright.com.
IBEW Local 697 isn't just wiring buildings. We're woven into the very fabric of Northwest Indiana. We're your neighbors. Our kids go to school with yours. We stand in the same bleachers cheering for the same high school teams. When you hire a union electrician, you're not just getting the highest quality work. You're supporting our community. IBEW Local 697, proudly powering our own.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialist.
Sick of winter? Golf season is almost here. Book the cabin and enjoy the region's best all-inclusive private golf getaway, featuring 2 rounds at Innsbrook Country Club, plus dinner, breakfast, and cozy lodging, all for just $500 per person.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Happy you're with us for this audio broadcast of the semi-state semifinal matchup between Crown Point and Norwell. Mayor Pete Land of the Crown Point Police Department are proud to support Crown Point Bulldog Athletics and say, "Go Bulldogs!" Crown Point remains dedicated to preserving history, celebrating everyday life, providing the best in-city services, and encouraging smart growth. Enjoy open skate at the Timothy Risch Ice Rink at Bulldog Park through February. Weather permitting. For a complete schedule of hours, visit crownpoint.in.gov. It is a really fun ice rink there over just out of the square area over there. I actually, believe it or not, Wally, I actually was there the night that ice rink opened, the night it debuted. I got to ride just because I knew that our executive producer, Chris Ramirez, would want this live hit. When the Zamboni went out to go clean the ice, I went live on Facebook on the Zamboni, holding on for dear life while that thing was going around, and we got a nice ride on the Zamboni ride.
I thought you were going to tell me you were a figure skater in another
no.
The Zamboni story's better. It's more manly.
Right? I mean, yes, because the figure skating, definitely, I don't have the ankles for that. And those, I am not the quadruple axle king or whatever. But it was fun to be out there. Cool event, really fun. We've covered hockey out there, the Region Sports Network here. We've covered college hockey out there at that particular rink. It's a really cool area.
It's a great town, great sports town.
Yeah,
if they
Crown Point is certainly buzzing in terms of their sports, and I would say a lot of it. Sports has been buzzing in the hub city for a long time, but man, oh man, it kind of really felt like things got started with that girls basketball team, just over a handful of years ago, and now look, they're back here in semi-state.
Yeah, and it's I think citywide their softball team won the state title. Their baseball team's really good. The wrestling team's good. The football team's been loaded. They got it going, and it's one of those things where, whether people want to admit it or not, if you build it, they will come. And they've built good programs. They have a good school academically, good leadership, and dogs are rolling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to call it Turf City sometimes instead of the Hub City, because even the parks that we go visit, even at the younger levels, and all the softball fields and baseball fields, everything is turfed. The middle school fields are turfed for football. I mean, it's the complexes that are also building and making people want to move to Crown Point for the facilities, for this engagement, the top-tier coaching, all that kind of stuff. So,
and I think the other thing that it does is it lights a fire under other places.
Yeah.
To step up what they have. We're in a situation right now where, families moving into Northwest Indiana got to make decisions about where they want to live, right? And if they got little kids, those are the kind of things that go into those decisions. So they're doing it right there, and they're very successful at a lot of things. But at this point, we'd probably be remiss in not mentioning that their longtime athletic director, Bill DeRilla's, shutting her down. He's retiring after this year. So, Bill's been the captain of the ship there for quite a few years now, and is Matt McCaleb, who played for Bill and I at Chesterton, who's the assistant athletic director. I don't know if that means Matt moves up or if they got something else they're going to do, but Bill did a really nice job there, and it'd be sad to see him go.
Yeah, certainly a lot of this success you could put at the feet of the athletic director, Bill DeRula, who, as you said, is going to be calling it a career after this season. Probably has other adventures that he wants to go check out. I'm sure he's not going to stay too far away from Crown Point athletics, but yeah, what a career he's had, what a program, and everything he has built at Crown Point in terms of the facilities that have been built and organizing all that, and just managing all the sports. We talk about sometimes the big three, but then you got to deal. You got to organize. Swimming, tennis, track and field, cross country, all these things. Where do you go? Where golf? Which courses do you play at? Where's your facilities at? And he's been at the helm of a lot of that, and excited to see what adventures await him. But can't wait to see what adventures await this upcoming matchup here between Crown Point and Norwell. Both teams coming in with 23-4 records, and I mentioned how Norwell is the number 6 team in Class 4A. I don't think that's going to intimidate the Bulldogs in any way, shape, or form. Well,
Coaches often say that most of these polls are done by people wearing shirts and ties that never played the game to begin with. And here's what I'll tell you. If Crown Point's 23-4, right, they got 4 losses. They lost to Penn, who won 24 games, Valpo, who won 23 games, Morton, who was 18-2, and McCutcheon, who won 23. So outside of those, which might I add, Michigan City Marquette, who won 23 games. All of those, 3 of those teams were playing in the regional, and then Crown Point was able to avenge that loss to Morton in the sectional round. So, the Dogs aren't coming here to take a back seat.
All right, we're going to step aside one more time before we get to the starting lineups and the opening tip. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Getting ready for the introduction of the starting lineups, and we'll bring you those. I'm sure they're going to introduce the non-starters in this game as well today for both Crown Point and Norwell. We mentioned Crown Point coming in 23-4, 6-1 in the DAC. They were second in the Duneland Athletic Conference. As you mentioned, beat Morton to get here, Wally. Beat Hammond Central, who was the sectional champion a season ago. Beat Lake Central. in pretty convincing fashion, 44-35, and then won a pretty close nail-biter against Penn, 54-45, in that regional championship to advance here to semi-state afternoon.
Well, and I think the Penn game's the big one, right? Because I think that's where a lot of people had them. Well, to go back even farther, the Morton game was a big one. The Morton game in the sectional.
That was
Morton, Morton was one loss and had beat Crown Point early in the year, so that was a big game coming right off the bat. So,
yeah, that kind of felt like that was probably, in a lot of people's opinions, that was probably the championship game that first night. Not that teams like Lake Central, Hammond Central are going to be cakewalks, but you talk about maybe the two best teams in that sectional. That was opening night.
Well, when you talk about games, right? You're talking about them on paper, and sometimes on paper it doesn't come out, but on paper that was surely the case. And Norwell is very similar. They have 4 losses, right? They lost to Warsaw twice. Warsaw won 24 games, is loaded. The fact that Warsaw is not here today, surprising a whole bunch of people, as good as Warsaw was. They lost to Valparaiso, who had 23, and they lost to Fort Wayne Snyder, who later they played in the sectional and beat by 40.
Yeah.
So Norwell's 23-4. 3 of their losses happened on Christmas break, and you never know on Christmas break, was somebody sick? Did somebody's parents go on vacation? How did they got 3 losses in a 3-day span over Christmas break, and over the other 4 months they didn't lose at all. So Norwell's really good, and they're led by 2 players that if you're a Northwest Indiana fan, you've never heard of. But they have 2 monsters on their team, and Vanessa Rossworm being their leading scorer. She averages 23 points a game. She's going on scholarship next year to Indiana Wesleyan. I watched 2 of their games on Huddle this week, and she's pulling up from the volleyball line. They're a really long team. Their smallest starters, like 5'8", 5'7", play a lot of 1-3-1, trap all over the place. So when they play 5 long girls, their 1-3-1 covers up a lot more ground than a lot of people do. And then, the other, what's her, Saul Frank, she's averaging.
Saul Frank, yep.
Yeah, she's Macy Saul Frank. She's averaging 15 points a game. So between those 2, that's 40 points a game. And then they got accessory pieces, right? Where some people's jobs to rebound, some people's jobs to set screens and guard people. So Norwell's a really good team. Crown Point's a really good team, and that's what it's supposed to be when you're in the semi-state.
Well, they have introduced the starting lineups for both Crown Point and Norwell. We'll give you those starters here in just a second. I've never seen this before. Norwell's cheerleaders had banners of the starters that they unveiled as they were introduced out onto the floor.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I've never seen it, but I hope to see it. Everybody ought to do that.
McCutcheon had a band earlier here,
which I didn't even think. A second ago I was sitting here thinking, man, this is a real disappointing crowd for this second game. But one of the entire sections in the last game was McCutcheon's band.
Yes.
So if that section is full, maybe it doesn't feel that way.
We are officially underway here at the semi-state semifinal matchup between Crown Point and Norwell. Crown Point has the ball first, and the starting lineup starts with Sydney Hale, number 10, the 5'7" sophomore. Norwell gets a steal here. We'll give you those starting lineups in just a moment. I believe we've displayed those starting lineups already on the broadcast for you. We would in just a moment as the action kicks off here in the corner for a 3, but it is no good from that far corner from our vantage point. Ava Ritchie in that starting lineup as per usual, 5'7" sophomore who controls at the point at the top of the key, along with the 5'8" sophomore Addison Seibert, along with the 5'11" junior Ava Punick, who's number 30, and then the 6'4" junior Ivy Henderson as well. Sydney Hale, the 5'7" sophomore, at the top of that lineup, who just had it smacked out of her hand.
Yeah, that's
cross court, stolen away by Ritchie. Ritchie off to the left side, dribbling with that right hand. Now goes to the left wing, right in front of the Norwell bench. Gets smothered in almost a double team there. Swings it over to Hale. Tries to tip it over the top and tries to feed it into Seibert, but can't do it. Hits the end line. It'll stay here with Crown Point. For Norwell, Addison Norris, a 5'7" senior in the starting lineup, along with Ashley Waldman, a 5'8" senior. Olivia Green, a 5'11" junior. Macy Salfrank, who we mentioned earlier, the 5'9" senior, along with Vanessa Rossworm, a 5'10" senior.
Yeah, so Norwell coming out in their traditional 1-3-1. So Crown Point's going to try to spread the floor with 4 guards and then play with 1 big in the middle.
And Hale inside the paint gets the first bucket for the Crown Point Bulldogs. So Bulldogs lead it 2-0 early on here. Here's a kick to the corner for a 3-point basket. I believe that was Ashley Waldman who got that early 3 for the Norwell Knights.
And Norwell, their offense feeds off their defense with Ross Worm up at the top being long. She gets out on the front, a lot of breaks. And if you're Norwell, or if you're Crown Point, Henderson's got to be the key here, right in the middle of this 1-3-1. And if they're as Crown Point goes on, they're going to get a feel here for how they're rotating on those perimeter people in the 1-3-1. And if they can get it in the middle, they'll be a lot more successful. Good start right now for Crown Point.
Ava Punick had tried to feed it down to Henderson down in the post, so Henderson got fouled. So she is at the free throw line. Her first free throw is no good. The foul is on Addison Norris. That's her first and the team's first of the quarter. Henderson 0 for 2 from the charity stripe, so it's still 3-2 in favor of the Knights.
Crown Point coming out in there, they're pretty traditional. They play man-to-man a lot. Henderson likes to kind of lurk down in the lane so people can be more active on the perimeter, and she's there.
Vanessa Rossworm with a jumper inside the arc, couldn't get it to go, so Crown Point comes back in transition, left to right on the floor from our vantage point. If you're looking from the scorer's table, they're going right to left, and Crown Point stepped on the end line right by the Norwell bench, which they had no problem telling the official, hey, she stepped out. And he saw it as well, so.
Hale tried to beat her baseline and ran around the trap and just got her foot on the sideline.
So Norwell comes back with it right to left. Again, from our vantage point here in the corner here at LaPorte Gym. Waldman gets stopped, tries to throw it to the cross corner. Norris feeds it up to Green from the right block, couldn't get it to go. Ritchie now in transition, crosses over. Now outside the 3-point arc on the left side in front of Norwell's bench. Feeding inside to the corner, swinging it off to Punick now, who's waiting for something to get drawn up. Here's Ritchie in the corner for 3. Hits the front iron, no good. Rebound comes down to Rossworm.
And those are shots Crown Point's going to need her to hit because they're going to try to limit her touches.
Norris driving on the right side from the right block. The foul is on the floor. The bucket did fall down, but it is no good. So the foul is going to be on Ava Punick.
And I think that's one of those calls early that the officials are trying to set the tempo of what they're going to allow and what they're not going to allow.
As a reminder, our game day forecast brought to you by Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. Today's forecast as Rossworm goes up and in from underneath from the left block. So our game day forecast brought to you by our friends at Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, a very comfortable 32 degrees. So Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and cozy in the winter. We're cozy here right now. Coach here at a whistle here for a lineup change as Sophie Hart will check into the game.
So this 1-3-1, and there's a lot of teams in our league that play it. Chesterton plays a ton, so does Valpo. But the way Norwell plays, because they're so long, they don't trap as aggressively up top. And they do a nice job of playing in the passing lanes. When you got all this length here, I think at some point today you're going to see Ritchie try to split this double team as it comes slow.
Trying for a pass over the top. Rossworm stops. She pops for a long 3. Hits the iron, no good. Henderson comes down with a rebound and almost does a whole block out at the same time. Now Sydney Hale in the near corner has it. Now given up to Ritchie, who passes long court on the skip pass. Right back to her on the skip pass. From just about the right elbow, gets the first bucket of the day for herself.
Good ball movement by the Dogs.
1-point game. Ritchie trying to intercept a pass. Knocks it out of bounds towards the Norwell cheerleaders. So it'll stay Norwell ball. They'll try to cross half court here. They're about at that front volleyball line, if you will.
Yeah, and, Coach Stengel's varying up the kinds of full court pressures that the Crown Point's running here, but they all kind of end up falling back to man.
Rossworm meets up Henderson. This one hit by Sophie Hart. It goes out of bounds, but Rossworm saw Henderson right in front of her, and she said, I don't think I'm going to make that shot.
Yeah, and at 6'4", that tends to do it. Rossworm's a problem because she's a great 3-point shooter. She's pretty crafty under the basket.
Stops just in front of the three-point line there in the corner. There's a swing to Norris. Norris at the free throw line, dishes it back out to Southrank for the three-point basket. No good. Rebound hits Hale, then hits Rossworm in the head, who puts it up, and it rolls out. It was about partway down the rim, but came back out. Ritchie, now in the corner in front of Norwell's bench, gets fouled as she's dribbling around, trying to find some kind of an open lane. And we'll find out who the foul is on for the Knights. It'll be their second of the quarter, and it's against Macy Southrank.
And Ritchie's so athletic and such a good ball handler that she's able to create problems with the dribble.
So Ritchie at the top of the key, dribbling with the right hand, stops at the free throw line. Stops at the three-point line, Has this one stolen away by Southrank here just inside the arc. The give is to Norris now. Norris at the top of the key, pops for the shot, hits the back iron, no good. Trying in for the rebound is Jada Dale. Doesn't come up, though. Now Ritchie's comes up with it.
Sydney Hale right now is doing a great job on Rossworm. They're playing their traditional half-court man, but Hale's been given the green light that you don't have to play any help defensive ball. Try to limit Rossworm's touches, and so far she's done a nice job and contributed on the glass as well.
The feed underneath the Henderson as she tries to put it up on that left block. Couldn't get it to fall. We'll have a foul underneath. I'll tell you, one question I have for you. There's been a lot of passes over the head. Do you like that versus the bounce pass in this kind of situation with the 1-3-1 defense?
No, and I don't. And because when you're trapping out of the 1-3-1, that's what you're trying to do, get people to put arc on the ball and throw it over the top. It's one of those things where it's it's an old coaching cliche is sometimes you got to fake a pass to make a pass. And
there's a swing in here to Dale, who pops for the three and hits. Dale off the bench knocks a three-point basket, makes it an 8-4 game. The foul, by the way, for Crown Point was on Addison Seibert. Now to Ritchie at the top of the key, swings it over the head to Hale, who's beyond the three-point arc. It's stolen away and knocked towards Norwell, who now brings it up with Southrank, who she stops for a three-point basket from that same location as Dale. Underneath was Dale again to clean up the missed shot and put it back home.
Again, rebounding, obviously with this length that Norwell has, rebounding is going to be an issue. And you give people second opportunities or second chances to shoot into possession, and that's not good.
Hart gives it up to Hale here on the left wing. Now swings to Ritchie. In between the top of the key and the right wing, backs up, dribbles, stops at the top of the key, gives it up to Hale. She tries for a three, hits the iron, no good. Trying underneath by Menchaca for the rebound, couldn't get it to fall. Rossworm with it across the timeline, swings it over to the far corner. Now bringing it inside to the left elbow. As Southrank takes it here just inside the free throw line with a little right hook and gets it to fall.
Yeah, Southrank's come out really aggressive in the first quarter. So
it's been a run as the lead expands 12-4. We'll step aside. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
When it comes to your money, you deserve more than just numbers on a page. You deserve someone who sees the full picture. Meet Mark Machnick, one of Northwest Indiana's most trusted accounting professionals. Whether you're running a business, planning for retirement, or just trying to make sense of tax season, Mark Machnick, located in Highland, makes it simple, personal, and believe it or not, painless. Contact Mark and his team today at 219-595-5290. Mark Machnick, CPA.
At Blyce, we're used to having the athlete shop at our store.
Down, sit, put.
But sometimes they get carried away. Blyce, this is where the athlete shops.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Don't forget, at the end of this one, we've got the Crowell Company's Lancerman Superhero of the Game. They are proud to recognize superheroes on the hardwood, on the basketball court, along with the Boilermakers Local 374 Blue Collar Player of the Game. Learn about apprenticeship programs and more at local374.org. And then, of course, the proud Union Home Play of the Game, brought to you by Iron Workers Local 395. To find out how you can become a Union Iron Worker, visit ironworkers395.com. All right, start after the timeout here with about $1:15 left to go in this opening quarter, right inside the paint. Trying to shot for South Frank, couldn't get it to go. I believe that was Isabella Swineford in there trying to get the rebound, couldn't come up with it, but Norwell able to keep. Now at the free throw line, going to the left block. This one picked off and now taken by Amaya Menchaca, who gives it up to Ritchie. Dribbles with the right hand, has two ready to guard her. Passes over the top to Hale on the right wing here. Starts to drive in towards that three-point line a little bit here. Swings it out to Hart in the right corner. Back to Hale in the right wing. Swings it over to Ritchie on the left side. Now over to Menchaca in the left corner for the three. Hits the front iron. This one tipped out of bounds. It'll be Norwell ball as it goes out of bounds on the end line.
Norwell does a good job of blocking out in this 1-3-1. It's not real easy to find somebody to box out, and they've done a nice job of getting bodies on people. Crown Point coming out with token pressure again. Little full court man-to-man, not doing anything crazy and trapping or anything out of it. But
yeah, sometimes when you do this full court press, a team that can break that press well, it almost feels like easy buckets if you are able to get out of that press easily.
Yep, good teams don't allow themselves to be pressed.
Waldman muscling up, gets a little too far into the basket, swings it across the South Frank in front of Crown Point's bench for the three-point bucket.
Yeah, South Frank's off to a good start today.
15-4 your score as Ritchie brings it across the timeline down to 4. Swings it up to Henderson, who swings it off to Hale. I don't think they know how much time is left. They try to get the shot off. It's no good. I don't think Crown Point realized how much time was really left. Henderson really shouldn't have passed and tried to go for that last-second bucket underneath. But as it stands at the end of 1, it is 15-4 in favor of the Knights. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Sick of winter? Golf season is almost here. Book the cabin and enjoy the region's best all-inclusive private golf getaway, featuring 2 rounds at Innsbruck Country Club, plus dinner, breakfast, and cozy lodging, all for just $500 per person.
Located in the heart of downtown Indianapolis, the newly renovated Hampton Inn is within walking distance to over 30 restaurants and attractions, including Lucas Oilfield and Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Hampton Inn has much to offer, including a hot breakfast, high-speed internet access in every room, as well as a fitness center. Why wait? Make your reservations today. Call 317-261-1200 or make them on the web at hamptonin3.hilton.com. Hampton Inn, Indianapolis, downtown.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Start of the second quarter here at LaPorte High School. Semi-state, semi-final matchup here between the Bulldogs and the Norwell Knights. And if you are just listening, and the Dawslet tones of Wally McCormick is playing in the background for you, it is a 15-4 score. If you're watching, kudos to you to watching the scoreboard. I like it. But you can see that it's 15-4 in favor of Norwell. As Ross Worm brings off to the left side. She pulls up for a three and gets smacked by Hale. That was clear as day. I think everyone in the gym, I don't care if you were sitting above the roof, that was clear as day as a foul.
And so I think what they're going to try to do here, Norwell, against some of this man is these high ball screens. Ross Worm is a problem because she's a ball handler, but she's 5'11", and if you get a big that comes out to screen and the defense switches, now you got matchup issues. So just another wrinkle, I guess, that Norwell has thrown out.
Ross Worm knocks down the first 2. It was a 3-point attempt, so she will get 3 free throw attempts. She's knocked down the first 2, trying for 3, and does hit. No, doesn't feel like pressure in the game for her at all. She's got 5 points. A couple of players have 5 points already for Norwell, including South Frank and Jada Dale off the bench. Ava Ritchie now.
Yeah, Norwell's pushing Crown Point's offense. They're initiating their offense from half court. It's difficult for them to collapse this thing down.
Ritchie with a jump shot just in front of the three-point arc as they're jumping around for the rebound. It comes down to Norwell. Waldman pushing it up the floor. Now gives up to Norris on the right side in front of Crown Point's bench.
Sydney Hale's working her tail off right now for the Dogs.
Ross Worm hits from a 3 in the near corner in front of us.
Yeah, and Ross Worm is one of those people that if you give him an inch, they're pulling the 3, and she's a really good shooter.
6-0 run to start this second quarter as Hale misses the 3 attempt. Waldman comes up with it. Now hands off to Norris. Pushes it right ahead into the corner. Gives it up to Solfang for three. Hits the iron. Rossworm there on the rebound. Tries for it there. Ritchie comes down with the rebound this time and crosses her way to the left side of the court. Now driving inside to that left elbow. Gives it up to Henderson at the free throw line. Ritchie pulls up from three for the top of the key and hits. A big hit for Crown Point to try to will their way back into this early on here as the deficit is now cut to 14.
Yeah, they needed a basket desperately, and that three was big.
Pulling up for a long three to answer for Norris. Just kind of felt out of nowhere. Looked like they were going to wait to try to draw something up, and then Norris says, I can do that too.
Well, I think the most impressive thing so far about Norwell is the number of people that have the green light to shoot the threes. It's like 5 different girls have attempted threes so far in the game.
Well, when you have a lineup loaded, yeah, you kind of give that green light to anybody. That's a lot of trust from a coach to give to almost an entire starting 5, or at least the 5 that are on the floor, as Ritchie pulls up from three. She hits back-to-back.
Big shot. Big shot. You know, Norwell's got, an older team, but they got a lot of playoff experience of playing in the state finals the last 2 years.
Norris again hits the front iron. Good box out from Henderson. Or was that over and back? That was going to be close because that was not touched by anyone from Crown Point. Rossworm gets tripped up. Give here now to Waldman, who gives into the corner. Now trying to feed down to Green in the post. Giving up to Waldman now, drives from that left block, kisses it off the window and gets it in.
Yeah, good left hand.
And Coach Stengel is forced to call yet another timeout, already the second of the game.
Crown Point's expended so much energy on the defensive end right now and keep giving up offensive rebounds.
26-10 your score with about 5:12 to go. It's a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. Be sure to stay connected with all things Region Sports by supporting and following us on social media. We're always active on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, and online at regionsports.com. Celebrating over 25 years, we're proud to still be the only game in town. And we're only able to be the only game in town because of the great fans that are listening in from all over the region, Northwest Indiana, Porter County, all over the world. One thing that that we get really honored to do is we've been able to cover that Cal Ripken World Series in Crown Point. So that has gotten us viewers from all around the world, including Australia. I made a lot of friends from the Aussie Drop Bears when they came to Crown Point. Now Crown Point trying to get something going here with 5 minutes left to go in the half. Hale, after the double team, gives to Ritchie. They don't want to swarm too early because they know that pass is going to come over the top. It appears to me, coaches, this one kind of gets thrown out of bounds. It'll stay here with Crown Point. It seems to me that they're willing to start the double coverage on Hale a lot quicker than they are with Ritchie. Are they worried about Ritchie splitting the defense faster than Hale is? Would that be why?
Yep, 100%. Their traps sometimes are not real aggressive, especially out at the top. But when the ball goes down to the bottom corners, then they really get out. It's a big rebound by Henderson. Can't get the putback.
Yeah, Ritchie tried for a three-point shot from that left wing. Henderson came down with the rebound, couldn't get it to go. And then the second attempt up, she got fouled, and they were going to say it was on the floor. The foul goes to Isabella Swineford. So her first. And now the kick to Seibert, and they quickly close out on Seibert there. Ritchie tries for the three again, and from the corner in front of Norwell's bench is able to hit her third triple of the game. In fact, the third triple of this quarter.
Yeah, Ritchie's single-handedly trying to keep the Dogs in the game right here.
They're going to call a travel here against Rossworm as she met the defense of Sydney Hale, who you have been singing praises of so far here in this first half as she goes up against Rossworm.
Yeah, well, Sydney Hale as a sophomore who's given the honor and the curse of having to guard Rossworm and chase her around all the time. It's a compliment to Hale, her athleticism, and how hard she plays.
3 sophomores, 2 juniors in this starting lineup for Crown Point as Ritchie thought about the three, pulls up, goes to the top of the key, dribbling with that left hand, gives to underneath Henderson, who puts it up off the window and in.
And that's 2 times in a row. Same basic look. Crown Point attacking the lane from the corner. When the help rotates over, they get it to Henderson for a little put in.
Largest lead, I believe, was 18 in the game. Now it's cut down to 11, just under 4 minutes to go.
You know, when you got a young team like Crown Point is right now, you just got to kind of weather the storm this first.
As Norris pulls up from a long-range three again, that's been a dagger for Norwell here so far in this one.
And hope that they don't do that.
Ritchie gives off now to Seibert. Hale at the top of the key, swings it around to Punick, who gives to Henderson, who right underneath, again, as she gets swarmed under there, able to put back-to-back buckets home. So she's got 4 early on.
And Crown Point seems to have figured out a little strategy here against their 1-3-1. It's 3 times in a row they've gotten the ball a foot away from the basket.
Rossworm in the near corner in front of us. Now off to Waldman, who gives to Norris. Top of the key, drives to that left block, and now, or to the left elbow as Rossworm tries to put one up. And Hale's going to come in, and I believe Hale's going to get called for this foul as she met up against Isabella Swineford. Just a position error there, or unfortunate spot to be in if you're Hale. That picks up her second of the game. Nothing malicious, obviously, just trying to go for the ball and just kind of bumped into Swineford, and officials said, that's enough contact for me.
And Brad's going to take her out. I mean, right now with it, at 12, it feels worse than it is. You know, they've been able to cut this thing to 12, where a couple minutes ago they were about to extend it to 20.
And Maya Menchaca now tasked with trying to rebound as the ball on the floor. Everybody diving for it. We got some scuffles going on in there. I saw a couple of hands start to fly toward each other. No harm, no foul, though.
Hey,
they're going to check the floor to make sure that it's good to go. Nobody slips.
Punick's playing hard and competing. I mean, that's a 1-on-3 rugby scrum there at the bottom, and Crown Point takes possession.
Yeah, they call the jump ball. Possession goes to Crown Point. Give now at the top here to Menchaca. Double coverage there. She gets swarmed, tries to give it up to Henderson. Skips it over to Ritchie in that left wing. They start to close out on her. She backs up, gives it up to Punick. Now back to Ritchie, gives it back to Punick, able to save it before it goes out of bounds. Skips it back to Menchaca, who gives it up into the corner to Seibert, who can't come up with it. Yes. Norris comes down with the rebound.
Good ball movement by the Dogs. They get an open 3-point look. They just didn't make it.
Jada Dale back in the game, now to that right block. Kicks it off, gives it up to Sal Frank, who puts up the one-handed shot. No good. Rebound comes down to Swineford, who's able to just get right over the top. And we got a foul underneath as Jada Dale tried to go for that 3-point basket. It was offline, but they foul underneath.
On Henderson.
Yeah, they're going to call it on Ivy Henderson, her first, the team's third of the quarter.
You know, it's been a pretty quick-moving game, to be honest with you. Not a lot of fouls.
$1:50 left as we're going to have an offensive foul here against Norwell.
Yeah, so Norwell trying to run a dribble handoff, and, you know, if you're the person with the ball, you need to get your feet set, and they kind of ran right through that one to spring Rossworm for a 3 and got called for the offensive.
Olivia Green was the one called for that offensive foul.
Norwell going to their bench a little bit here. They got a couple of subs in right now trying to buy some minutes.
Menchaca was kind of smothered in that double coverage there, and a bounce-in 3 for Ava Ritchie from the right wing, her 4th of the game.
Yeah, and so the last 2 trips, Coach Stengel has taken.
Cuts it down the 9, and she steals a pass underneath the basket. The feed to Menchaca, tries to keep it in. It's battled on the ground. And it's going to be a whistle, and the possession arrow going to favor Norwell there. But what a steal from Ava Ritchie underneath the basket on Norwell's side, trying to feed it down to Menchaca down at the end, just couldn't keep it together. But the deficit is cut down to 9 with $1:19 to go. There is fight in this Crown Point team.
Yeah, and they've made a scheme change on offense and put Ritchie down in the bottom corner. And they have had some success now at a couple possessions in a row.
Southfrank gives up to Norris. Little shot fake there. Gives up to Dale, who moves to the top of the key from the left corner. Norwell kind of eating some clock here. Tough coverage here from Menchaca on Rossworm. Norris in the near corner. Drives inside the paint. Puts up a teardrop shot. Hits the back iron. No good. Rebound underneath, or Olivia Green comes up the rebound, tries to put it up. It hits the cord that connects to the basket that also connects to the ceiling to help roll the basket up if need be. So that stops the play, but the foul underneath is against Sophie Hart as she fouled Olivia Green. Sophie Hart with her first. That is the team's fourth of the quarter, though, with 48 seconds to go. Olivia Green can't connect on the first free throw.
And what Norwell's doing on offense is their dribble drive to where they're constantly driving into the lane and kicking out, and then as soon as they catch, they get right into another drive. So continually attacking into the middle lane, it's actually put them in some positions for some good offensive rebound opportunities.
Green can't come up with the second free throw, and did they call a foul or a lane violation?
They're giving her one, so I'm guessing it was a lane violation.
So a lane violation here. Stengel a little upset with that call.
I don't think he loved that call.
The second free throw was technically a no contest. The second one is still missed as Dale from the near corner meets up against Punic. Waldman underneath the basket, swings it over to Selfrink in the corner, swings it to Dale at the top of the key, hits the back iron. Ritchie trying to tap that one out. It goes to Norwell, though, unfortunately, on the rebound. Selfrink in the near corner for three and connects.
That's her third.
Bumps it back to a 12-point game, 18 seconds to go. Ritchie with coverage all over her, but there's a distance and a gap between that. That's been the biggest difference in terms of the defense is they don't, close in on the double coverage. Where everybody else, they are swarming and smothering. They don't swarm Ritchie, though. Hart underneath, can't get the bucket to go off, so 32-20 is your score at the half. We'll take a step aside. You are listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly conversation about Indiana high school sports with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. Now for an up-to-the-minute report about what's happening in the constantly changing world of high school sports, here's Commissioner Paul Neidig.
Welcome into the Commissioner's Corner. It's our weekly conversation with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. I'm Brendan King. Paul, always great to be with you. And Valentine's weekend here in the state of Indiana, an auditorium, lots of swimming, and boy, girls swimming just wrapping up. Paul, Carmel winning their 40th state championship, and now that's going to set the table for boys swimming and diving at the end of the month.
Yeah, we had a great weekend with the girls meet at again, beautiful facility at IU Indy with an auditorium, and our kids they get to celebrate their state championships in world-class facilities, and that was just another one. We had a great meet. Carmel won their 40th. Fort Wayne Carroll was on their heels. We actually had a tie for second place, first time in the history of the girls meet between Fishers and Fort Wayne Carroll. So great meet, and here we go. We're going to do it again in 2 weeks for the boys.
Feels like every weekend is a new adventure for you guys, and boys wrestling is coming up this weekend at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Now, of course, a different setup than the usual hardwood inside Gamebridge that you're going to have for the girls and boys basketball state finals. But the wrestling state finals, getting that at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, how unique of a situation is that?
Well, it's a phenomenal event. We loaded the semi this morning at our office to take the mats and all the equipment we need for the state championship. And again, it's an incredible state championship. I know Jason Willey's working hard to put the facts together, and we've got multiple state champions returning from this year. And I think he shared a little in our 285 or our heavyweight division. We have 3 undefeated wrestlers still going for state finals, and so it's should be a heck of a weekend. And if everybody wants to watch wrestling, get out there and join us at Gamebridge on Friday evening. It's punch your ticket round on Friday night. You have to win to go to the championship day on Saturday, but it's going to be a great day of wrestling.
Paul, let's talk about some hoops. Girls semi-state coming up this weekend. 4A locations, LaPorte and Jasper. 3A, it'll be Logansport and Southport hosting. 2A, it's Frankfort and Greencastle. And in Class A, Huntington North and Charlestown are the hosts. So you pair that, Paul, with the boys basketball pairing show coming up on Sunday. Busy time of year, as mentioned, for you and your crew. It's always a busy time of year, but when you get into your board meetings this time of year with both the boys and girls basketball state tournaments going at the same time, what planning does that take?
Well, there's a lot. We do have a board that is elected by our school to oversee this administration. You know, we have 19 people that are elected by our member schools, and we keep them informed with the tournament. And, you know, they approve the officials listing, or at least they look at that along the way and see whose officials have applied, and they approve the dates and all the other things that go into the state tournament. And so our staff is happy to work for a great board of directors that are really focused on education-based athletics.
This time of year is something we really haven't talked about before, reclassification. And I know, you know, it takes an army for you guys to figure out, you know, who's going where, all parts of the state. Can you just detail, first of all, the process of that and what goes into it?
Well, it's a very involved process. We're in the middle of that right now, and we actually have a consistent date that we use annually, and we use our fall, our September 1 count date, they call it, our ADM, and we use that to classify our schools. And so that happened last September. The state runs those numbers first, and they release them to us. And we're in the process now of putting those into individual classes. And, you know, we have a committee coming together in the 1st of March that'll come to the office that'll look at all the tournament alignments based upon the movement we had. And once we get that done, then we'll take it to our board a little bit later on in the year for the classification cycle for next year. But the way we do it now, I do think there'll be a lot of consistency in tournament participation, or at least sectional opponents from year to year. There will be some slight adjustments, but we'll see how that goes, and we're excited to be able to put that in. And there's certainly a lot of prognosticators out there trying to figure out who's going to be in what class and what changes are going to happen. And I would encourage people to wait until we release it before they jump too far into that process.
Indiana's own version of bracketology, if you will, around March Madness. Paul, appreciate the time. It's the Commissioner's Corner. We'll talk to you next week.
Very good, Brendan. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Commissioner's Corner with IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig, and thank you for your continued support of the high schools in your community.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Michael Brennan here along with Wally McCormick. Our sports director, Mike Dewan, working the production here today. Our masterful statistician, Rich Castillo, also on hand to help us break down some of the stats and some of the things that we can't write down over the course of our broadcasting, but gets everything we need. We assume it's official. He's got his shoes off over there to make sure he counts all the way to 20 to help him out here. But at the half, it is a 12-point game, 32-20. There was a nice run towards the end of that half for the Crown Point Bulldogs, and a lot of it led through Ava Ritchie. Yeah, Ava Ritchie leading scorer in the game right now with 14 points for Crown Point. So the Dogs from the field are 8 for 18 for 44% from three-point line. They're 4 of 10, 40%, and they've 0 for 2 at the free throw line. Conversely, Norwell's 11 for 27 from the floor, 7 for 13 from three-point range, and 3 for 5 from the free throw line. I think right now Norwell's out-rebounded Crown Point 11-7. Turnovers are about the same, and points off the bench, Norwell's got 5, and Crown Point's yet to score. Any of their subs have yet to score. So Ava Ritchie leading all scorers. She's keeping them in the game. She's got 14 of their 20 right now, but they're going to have to get some contribution from somebody else. Yeah, she had 4 triples in that second quarter alone to help get to that overall lead. I think the big thing, and this is what I have on my stat sheet versus what Rico's got for us, for Crown Point, only 3 players have scored. Only 3. And I'm looking here, 5 for Norwell. So that means that they are spreading the scoring out because nobody has less than 5 points. So not only are those 5 people scoring, but they're scoring a couple of times. Yeah, and you know, what Norwell does offensively is they play with 4 guards on the perimeter, and they play with 1 post. And that post isn't a true post player where they're trying to throw the ball. It's somebody that's moving and, you know, when shuffling or sliding up or sliding out to the short corner on the dribble penetration. And they have been able to, after a couple of exchanges, dribble into the middle lane and kick it out for open three-pointers. And they've made 7 of them so far. It's been very entertaining. So as we mentioned, 12 points, the difference between these two. And we'll talk about on the other side of the break here in just a moment what Crown Point's going to have to do to get back into this one. I'm thinking one of those keys, and we'll get this from you in a second here, one of those keys is start creeping up that rebounding margin a little bit in favor of the Crown Point Bulldogs. But we'll step aside for just a moment. You are listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Tonight's broadcast is made possible by Strack & Van Til, your favorite Indiana-made grocery store. Ironworkers Local 395, proud to be union. Four Seasons Mechanical, quality and comfort is our guarantee. Boilermakers Local 374, earn while you learn. IBEW Local 697, proud to support high school sports. Bricklayers Local 4, the best hands in the business. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and cozy in the winter. The Right Group, the right way to buy and sell real estate. Mark Machnick, Chicagoland Tax Professionals. Blythe's Team Sports, where the athlete shops. And Hampton Inn, downtown Indianapolis. This is the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Mayor Pete Land of the Crown Point Pace Department are proud to support Crown Point Athletics and say, "Go Bulldogs." Crown Point remains dedicated to preserving history, celebrating everyday life, and providing the best in-city services and encouraging smart growth. Enjoy open skate at the Timothy Grish Ice Rink at Bulldog Park through February, weather permitting. For a complete schedule of hours, visit crownpoint.in.gov. All right, we are under a minute before we get started with the second half here. Wally, what are you thinking Crown Point is going to need to do to kind of cut this deficit down? Obviously, you don't have to get it all back here in the next few minutes, but these first 3 minutes of the second half are going to be very pivotal.
I agree. And, Crown Point's got to get some help in the scoring department from somebody not named Richie. They had a little success towards the end of the first half with diagonal skip passes, and every time they've tried to penetrate into the lane, defense rotates over and they were able to get post looks from Henderson. And so I think those are, you got to eliminate possessions where you don't get a shot off. And then defensively for Crown Point right now, they're kind of in the trick bag of there's four guys on the perimeter for Norwell. All four can shoot. So when you rotate to start to help somebody that's getting beat off the dribble, you're giving up the opportunity for a kick out to a good three-point shooter. So, maybe if you're Crown Point, trying to do a better job of making those drives go towards the baseline as opposed to the middle of the lane so the rotations are a little bit easier. But at the end of the day, you got to make shots.
Well, Crown Point will start with it to start the first half here. Richie has it just across the timeline. She picked up her dribble, and Rossworm was all over her at that point. Now she has it in the corner, swings it around to the left side, tries to feed into Henderson in the paint, and it's stolen away. I believe it was Green who got her hand in there and then gave it up to Rossworm. We did have a comment on our stream on the Facebook as Rossworm puts up a hard shot off the window. McCutcheon won the game earlier against Northridge. So McCutcheon has moved on to the championship game this evening. They will play the winner of this one as a shot put up for Crown Point, no good, but Henderson there to clean it up and gets the first bucket of the second half for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and McCutcheon, for those people that don't know anything about McCutcheon, they have one of the best players in the country. I think the number one ranked junior in the state of Indiana, Lily Graves, that put on a show today.
Swing out to Norwell here for a three-point basket. It was no good for Waldman. Richie, all alone, goes up, lays it in, and puts it home.
Little run here for the Dogs.
4-0 to start things up. It's Norris at the top of the key for the Knights. Swings it to the corner, drive on the baseline, feeding into the middle. Now back out to Norris for three. She's hit a few, and she hits it again. That's three of them for her. Give her 9 points on the afternoon.
When at the end of the day, coming into the game, you got Rossworm and Macy
Salfrank
that are averaging 40. I don't think anybody anticipated Norris sitting out there and jacking up threes.
Stepping out of bounds and fighting hard for the possession is Norris. I'll tell you what, Coach, this is why I love high school basketball. I don't care what anybody says. High school basketball, there's so much heart and hustle. Obviously, at the upper levels and the professional leagues, nobody wants to get hurt because it affects pay and stuff like that. But
yeah, both teams are playing with great effort on both ends. And there's a reason they're in this game.
Yeah, no question about it. Hale up off to the window, gets fouled with the shot up. Basket doesn't fall, but she will go to the line to shoot two. She's got 2 points on the afternoon. Those came in that early first quarter. She was the first one to score and then has been quiet since, but she had to sit quite a while on the bench after picking up that second foul. Does knock her first free throw down.
And a lot of times against this 1-3-1, you get complacent and put the ball on top of your head, and you're trying to throw these lob passes over the top. And coming out in this second half, it looks like Coach Stengel must have talked about, hey, we need to put our heads down and attack the basket, because they've done so and been successful early in the quarter.
Norris putting her head down and driving to the rim and gets swatted away. Here comes the feed down underneath. A little too strong for Punick. Basket falls
great
down.
Look.
Yeah, it was a great look. Point blank. Couldn't get it to go a little too strong off the back iron. There's a three-point shot from South Frank. Can't get it to go. And a putback. I believe that was for Rossworm. Was that? I had my head down for a second. Was Rossworm the one that came up with that one? So she gets her first points of the second half. Give her 10 on the day.
Yeah, and their length once again is, that was Seibert had her boxed out, had her on her back, riding her out, and she's just too tall, went over the top.
We're going to step aside here. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
At American Testing Services, based in Hobart, Indiana, we specialize in NDT drone inspections and heat treatment services for local mills, fab shops, and facilities across the country. From Northwest Indiana to nationwide, we deliver precision, safety, and reliability. American Testing Services, America's trusted name in NDT.
Some see a volleyball match. We see a student athlete learning how to be poised under pressure. Some see a high school football stadium. We see the one place where the whole community comes together. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. 5:43 left to go in the third quarter. We got awards we're going to hand out at the end of this game. We got the Crowell Company's Lantern Man Superhero of the game. They are the business professionals. We've got the Boilermakers Local 374 Blue Collar Player of the game, Earn While You Learn with Boilermakers Local 374, and then the Proud Eden Home Play of the game, presented by Ironworkers Local 395. For more information on the apprenticeship program, check out ironworkers395.com. We're going to have a jump ball call here that was a little questionable by the Crown Point faithful. Thought maybe it was a foul as Crown Point was bringing it up the floor, but both hands on it. Official calls it a jump ball. Possession goes to Norwell because Crown Point started the half. So Rossworm with it on the right side, dribbling with the right hand, now crosses the timeline. At the right elbow, now swings it off to the corner for Waldman for the three. No good. Ball is saved in bounds, and it is saved to Seibert, who gives it up to Ritchie, crosses on the right side. Now at the top of the key, now backs up on the Slicer logo, now in front of her bench. Tries to get around. There's going to be a foul on Rossworm. That'll be her first for the senior.
Yeah, Norwell's done a really good job of not fouling when they're double teams. When they're trapping all over the place. That one was just not smart.
That may be also why they're not willing to basically suffocate Ritchie versus everyone else, because they're worried about, as I mentioned earlier, that speed of Ritchie that may cause that unintended foul that they're not trying to commit, but it would just happen because of where Ritchie's going to go on the floor.
Yeah, and these teams that play 1-3-1s all the time, they get good at it, and they're really good at anticipating where things are going.
Well, a lot of experience on this Norwell team as well. The give is to Hale. She's able to, almost able to protect it in front of her bench of coaches, but does hit that line and goes out of bounds. It'll be a turnover for the Bulldogs here. Under 5 minutes to go in the third. 37-26 your score. Winner of this game will get McCutcheon for the semi-state championship later this evening around 7:30. The winner of that game will advance to the championship game as Ritchie with the steal lays it in.
So quick. Just broke right on her, took it right out of her hand. It went the other way for an uncontested layup.
Only a sophomore, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch what the next 2 years brings for a lot of these Bulldogs on the ladies' side of the action.
You got all 3 guards on the floor right now for Crown Pointer sophomores.
Salfrank pulls up for a 3 and connects. From my vantage point, that was about as pure as it gets. I don't even think it hit the rim.
Yeah, that puts them at, I think, 10 for the game.
Yeah, they've got a good number here for sure. Addison Norris with 3. Waldman's got 1. Salfrank now has 3. Rossworm with 1, and Dale with 1.
Crown Point's trying to overload right now and get 4 players on one side of the floor against this one. Nice pass.
Swing right into Henderson. Great ball movement by the Bulldogs. Henderson with her second bucket of the second half. She's got 8.
Seibert to Punic, and Punic with a nice little no-look touch pass to Henderson for the finish.
Rossworm on the left side from that left elbow. Swing, steps in front, gets whacked in the face on her shot up. And I believe it's going to be by Henderson.
There's a nice post move there.
Yep.
Up and under with the
little
left-handed baby hook, and she took one on the chin for it.
She wasn't worried about – she's more probably upset. She doesn't even care that she got whacked in the face. She's mad she missed the bucket. But she gets to go to the line to shoot 2, knocks down the first one. She is 4 of 4 from the free throw line so far this afternoon.
And she's one of those players that just – you're going to look up when the game's over, and she's going to have 20 points.
And it's so
she doesn't
quiet.
force things. Yeah, just a quiet. Their whole team. I think that the way that they play, everybody has the confidence to shoot. They play like they're not worried of making mistakes or getting in trouble for missing a shot.
What we mentioned in that starting rotation is Ritchie goes to the corner, drives baseline, kicks it out to Seibert for the 3. Rattles around. Will it fall? No, it will not. Henderson with the rebound, but got smacked on that rebound attempt as that ball was just bouncing around on the top of the cylinder. We mentioned earlier, Wally, how Crown Point has 3 sophomores in their starting rotation, 2 juniors. For the starting rotation for Norwell, 4 seniors and 1 junior. So a lot of experience.
Yeah, and a lot of experience making deep playoff runs. I believe they got bumped up because of success factor. They should be playing down in 3A.
Feed underneath to Hart. Almost had it poked away. It is poked away now. As Salfrank was all over Sophie Hart here. The foul going to be against Salfrank on the whistle. Nope, I beg your pardon. It is going to be the fouls against Crown Point. That's where the Crown Point faithful are now up and voicing their displeasure because the foul was on Sophie Hart.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Yeah, I don't know how Sophie Hart picked up that foul, but official saw something differently than we did as Rossworm's jumper, no good, hits the front iron.
Oh, Henderson got a hand on it. That was a nice play.
Ritchie to Hart in the corner, pulls up for the 3, hits the back iron. I'll tell you what, though, as Hale comes down with the rebound, goes up. She gets fouled. Bucket doesn't fall, though. But I'll tell you what, though, a call like that, and I'm not saying, officials are doing a great job here today, but a call like that, that's just something that's going to maybe flip the mode for a team. That could be the justification factor, gets the crowd a little bit more into it, tries to will a team into it as they're down 12 right now.
And I think Crown Point's done an exceptional job in the second half of trying to attack the rim. And, Ritchie's so athletic, and she can split double teams, and when she does, it forces other people to rotate, and they've gotten some good looks in this half. Much better job than they did in the first half.
Hale to the line, knocks down both of them. She's 4 of 4 from the charity stripe here in this second half. She's got 6 points. So it makes it a 10-point game. 2:43 left to go here in the third quarter. Pass into the corner. Driving was Waldman. Has it in the air. Ball picked up by Waldman there. Rossworm with it at the top of the key. Matched up against Hale, who's done a phenomenal job tonight. Stop into the free throw line. Pass is on that left block. Rossworm in the corner. She pulls up for the 3. No good. Henderson comes down with the rebound. One thing that I'm noticing from Rossworm, and I'm not saying she's the same kind of player, but the way the shot looks coming off her hands looks very much like a Jessica Carruthers.
Well,
just kind of like a lot of rotation to it coming off of it.
That's quite a compliment.
I'm just going, just the way it comes off and there's like rotation on the spin, it just looks very much like a Carruthers shot.
Well, there's a reason she's going to play next year and probably not going to pay a whole lot to go do it. Nice pass.
Foul underneath again. This will be the 15th foul for the Knights.
Crown Point's had a lot of success with these diagonal passes, and Hale got trapped out on the perimeter and was able to throw diagonally to Addison Seibert coming in on the square and make these free throws. Now you put it into single digits.
So Seibert to the line. She's been held off the scoreboard so far, or at least out of the scoring column. Hits the back iron, couldn't get it to fall. Don't forget we got those awards we're going to hand out at the end of this one. And also be sure to stay connected with all things Region Sports by supporting and following us on social media. We're always active on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, and online at regionsports.com. Celebrating over 25 years, we're proud to still be the only game in town. 0 for 2 from the line for Seibert. Rossworm.
Yeah, Hale's really making Rossworm work for everything here.
That's what you talk about in a game like this. It used to be the format for regionals. A couple years ago, they switched it to semi-state for you have to win in the afternoon or in the morning and then win in the championship game in the evening. You really want in these games try to lessen the exertion of effort to try to keep yourself ready to go for the second game. But also the benefit. There is benefit in playing in the first game versus the second game. I know there was a study done a long time ago. Usually the team who plays in that opening game does has historically done a little bit better than the team who plays in the second game. A little bit more rest.
A little bit more rest, a little bit more time. After this game, they got to rehydrate and probably eat.
Seibert picks up her second foul here as Rossworm dishes it off to Sal Frank. Now back to Rossworm, dribbles to that right hand, stops him at the right block, puts it up off the window, and good.
Nice move. That's Norwell's tough. They got, there's 4 girls on the floor at all time that can handle the ball and dribble into the paint. And this Crown Point, a lot of these Norwell possessions are taken forever. And Crown Point playing man-to-man, they're doing a whole lot of running.
Yeah, they definitely want to try to eat as much clock as possible as Henderson gets fouled as she had possession of the ball. Crown Point fans are going to start to cheer because they're glad that a foul went Norwell's way.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like that, but if you look at the board, Norwell's committed more than 5.
Do we have a warning against Coach Stengel here? Yep, it looks like it. Apparently he's...
Coach Stengel's getting put in the penalty box.
Yeah.
Although he's not going.
Yeah, he's got to take a seat on the bench. Well, he was warned. He wasn't given a technical, but... They're going to talk to the...
Yeah, and if he is warned, that's good officiating, right?
It is, yeah. They don't want to issue those things. The officials you're going to get at this level are some of the top, and I don't know how they exactly pick, but I would imagine there's some kind of a grading scale by the coaches, and these are the guys who are rated the highest.
And if you look, if you're sitting behind the scorer's table right now as a group of about 4 or 5 officials that are evaluators. Jeff Nix is one of the lead evaluators that's there. And
actually, a few of the officials who were in the first game here with McCutcheon and Northridge, they've stuck around to watch what they anticipate to be a good matchup. Another foul going to be assessed here against Hale. And I did mention how for Norwell, they are at that 5 foul mark. So every foul that they commit, it puts Crown Point at the line, whether it's on the floor or in the act of shooting.
Yeah, and that's going to reset here in 18 seconds when the quarter ends. And if Crown Point falls here, then Norwell will be shooting because they're at 4.
Spin move, nice move by Salfrank. Puts it up off the window as she just kind of spins and maneuvers down inside the paint. Down to 2 seconds. Richie's going to put up a heave. Almost goes in as it hits the rim. 46-33 in favor of Norwell as we go to the final quarter of action here in the semi-state semifinal. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Have you heard? Stratford-Manteau was voted Best of the Region 2025 in several categories, including Best Caterer, Deli, Flower Shop, Food and Grocery Delivery, Fried Chicken, Place to Buy Produce, Place to Buy Seafood, Loyalty Program, and Grocery Store. We're proud to be recognized by our community, and we're committed to continuing to deliver the variety, value, and convenience you deserve. See for yourself what it means to be the best when you shop at Stratford-Manteau.
Start of the fourth quarter here at LaPorte High School. Winner of this game will face McCutcheon for a semi-state championship later on this evening on the same floor. Crown Point finds themselves down by 13 at the start of the fourth quarter. Big reason why, the big deficit in that first quarter. Norwell beat them in the first quarter 15-4. We were just talking about this during the break. Every quarter since, Norwell's only beat them by 1 point, 17 points to 16 points, and then 14 points to 13 points in the third quarter. That's where your deficit of 13 comes in as Henderson gets the ball underneath, couldn't get it to go, with Crown Point having the opening possession of the fourth quarter here. Norwell will give it up to Rossworm, will give it up to Norris here. Norwell in transition, left to right here. Rossworm tries to go up, and it was swatted away. I believe it was by Punick, yeah. Ritchie on the left side. Almost triple coverage there, but double coverage coming for sure. We'll have an offensive foul here against Crown Point.
Henderson.
And Henderson going to get called for the foul. That'll be her third. So her and Hale both have 3. And Coach Stengel not in a position where he can afford to lose both Henderson and Hale on the bench. They're both still out there on the floor right now.
Well, and at this point, you're down 13 with 7 minutes to go. You got to ride it. Crown Point needs to get some stops.
Again, I kind of mentioned, and this is not those things where being facetious or being rude in any way, shape, or form. Is good ball movement underneath for Norwell to give to Olivia Green, her first points of the game. When I say ahead of schedule, a young team like this, a lot of people wouldn't anticipate a bunch of sophomores and a couple of juniors getting all the way to semi-state. This might be maybe a next year's thought. Right? And then the senior year, when most of these guys are seniors, maybe that's state championship thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's true to some extent. But I also think, well, you know what? We're here. We might as well try to win today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question.
They got a scoreboard in the corner, so let's go try to win. It's Norwell.
Yeah,
Norwell is really, really, the whole idea of dribble drive is you need to beat the girl that's guarding you, and then figure out where the help comes from and throw to where the help comes from. And Norwell's done a really nice job of recognizing where Crown Point's help has come from and then been able to feed.
And a lot of times that help is coming from the top of the key, which has left people like Norris, who's dribbling with the ball now, or in that far corner in front of Norwell's bench. What a save by Norris! The ball was going towards Norwell bench, and she Supermaned it and put it back into play.
Yeah,
and then Olivia Green comes in and gets a bucket.
Yeah, Punick, nice pass.
And we'll have a full timeout, so we'll step aside. You're listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
IBEW Local 697 isn't just wiring buildings. We're woven into the very fabric of Northwest Indiana. We're your neighbors. Our kids go to school with yours. We stand in the same bleachers cheering for the same high school teams. When you hire a union electrician, you're not just getting the highest quality work. You're supporting our community. IBEW Local 697, proudly powering our own.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. 6:10 left to go in this matchup here between Crown Point and Norwell. The winner advances to the championship game for semi-state, as they will battle against McCutcheon, whoever wins this one, and then between this winner and McCutcheon, they'll battle it out this evening around 7:30 for a chance to go down to Indianapolis for a state title. Steele on the inbound, trying to go up, too strong off the window for Punic, but she was fouled on her way up. So just at the start of this one here, about 2 minutes in, Addison Norris, who just had a Superman-like save down at the other end, picks up her third foul. And Punic.
The Dogs' struggles at the line continue here a little bit.
Yeah, Sydney Hale is 4 of 4. Punic, still can't connect on the free throw. Everyone down on the ground, though, trying to save a loose basketball.
Yeah, Hale down in there again. She's not afraid to mix it up. Her and Seibert have both gotten on the floor to get after loose balls a few times today.
4 of 12 from the charity stripe today for the Crown Point Bulldogs. The feed right underneath and in for Punic. Her first points of the game on the inbound on the baseline. Now a full court press here, trying to get a tip here, trying to fight in there. Seibert going to get called for the foul as she swiped in. I believe she got Rossworm there.
Yeah, just missed the steal too, and then kind of fell into her legs. It's
almost got caught in the coffin corner here, as they call it.
Right now, if we're at Crown Point, we need to calm down a little bit and worry about things we can control. And the one thing we can't control is the officials at this point. So keep doing what you're doing. Uh-oh.
Long pass up to Green. Green able to control in the front court now for Norwell. The give in the corner. That's Jada Dale. Yep, now right underneath. Green under the basket. They flip it to her. She's got 6 points here now.
It's a great read
in
from
the second
her.
Half. Sorry,
Ivy Henderson rotates over to pick her up. Post slide behind her. She doesn't know where she's at, and they're able to get it for a nice little easy layup.
Trying to feed it down to Henderson. It's over her head. She was trying to use all 6'4" of that frame. Rossworm underneath. Good ball movement there to Salfrank, and now the lead continuing to balloon for Norwell. Ritchie to the window, scoring.
She's going to be a handful the next 2 years for the rest of the teams in the region.
That's why it's so much fun to watch the development of this Crown Point team. Certainly aspirations of a state title. Maybe it wasn't the thought coming into this year, but certainly that's going to be thoughts going forward with a lot of these younger players. Dale meeting the contact. They're going to call a blocking foul, and that's against Hale. That'll be her fourth with 4:36 to go, and that will be the fourth team foul for Crown Point of this quarter.
Well, and what it does here is it gives everybody an opportunity to get their breath. Calm down a little bit here. Still down 13. It's got to start with. Got to get some stops.
Dale at the free throw line, can't connect on the first.
I'd be remiss in saying I don't love Norwell. 1988, Portage Indians, Norwell, semi-state, Fort Wayne Coliseum. Some guy named Archibald, Darren Archibald from Norwell. Whoever he is, he's a legend in Norwell. I was looking for the big Eric Jones versus Sean Kemp matchup in the finals of the semi-state, and Norwell ruined it. So since 1988, I've had an aversion for all things Norwell. It was a long drive from Fort Wayne back to the Harvard of Vigo County, Indiana State, where I was a freshman at the time. So, Mr. Archibald, if you're listening, we haven't forgot the people at Portage that were there that day.
So if anybody is wondering, yes, Coach McCormick here does hold grudges. He doesn't let certain things go. It's interesting to note. Okay.
Yeah, just a small piece of trivia for you.
I love it. I'm a history guy. I love the trivia.
For any 60-year-olds hanging around watching the game right now.
Somebody out there they're going, yeah, I remember that.
Oh.
You tell them. Yeah, when you saw it was Norwell play Crown Point, did you have like a little bit of a flinch? Is that what?
Yes, I did.
As Dale.
I don't know if that makes me petty or
Well, you and I haven't worked together too much, but that's a good story that I like right there, and I'll remember that. I may just throw the name Archibald at you every once in a while.
Don't say it.
Hale into Henderson, now to Ritchie in the near corner here. 3-point shot, no good. This ball tipped out. Dale comes up with it as it was a loose ball at the free throw line. Goes to the right wing here. Norwell going to just eat some clock here. Rossworm drives to the right block, tries to get the kiss off the window, and it rolls just nicely for Norwell. What a shot by Rossworm.
Dogs are getting tired. Spent a lot of energy chasing around against that dribble drive. And, it's just been
16 for Rossworm in this game, by the way. We mentioned she comes in averaging 23.
Nice pass.
Hale turns around. It's just short. Gets her own rebound on that left block. Puts it up. Ball doesn't fall, but she is fouled on her way up, and I believe that's by Norris, so that'll be her fourth.
Hale's tough. She's tough. Gets after it, plays hard, and all the Crown Point kids are playing really hard today. And sometimes you get in a situation where, the other team you're playing is pretty good.
And Hale.
And playing hard isn't enough. But playing hard's where it all starts. And, right now it's a 16-point game, and as coaches you say all the time, the scoreboard should not dictate your effort.
No,
the Dogs, are 3 minutes away. They may not win this thing, but they're not going to sit here and lay down. And that's as a local team, that everybody's as a local guy, you're rooting for the Dogs. That's all you can ask. It'll hurt today. A couple days they'll be able to look back on it and say a regional championship's pretty good.
And we got an injury down in the middle of the floor,
Addison
and
Seibert.
they can't. And then it's going to be Seibert, and they can't stop the game, but they should. And they just now whistle it, and Coach Stengel's the one that's kind of yelling at the official, going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, she rolled her ankle.
Yeah, it's not a pretty look.
No,
now
it's tough for the officials. If it's a breakaway or they did the right thing. It never happens as quick as coaches or as parents, especially, that we'd like it to happen. But
while they tend to her, we're going to step aside. You are listening to Game Night on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialist.
Sometimes the hardest part of improving your business isn't coming up with a great idea. It's knowing what to do with it. Chester Inc. Architectural and Construction Services is ready to meet all your industrial and commercial construction needs. Whether it's a small build-out or a complete construction project, Chester will design, build, and finance. Our team eliminates multiple contractors, providing you a single point of contact while staying within your budget. Chester Inc. Architectural and Construction Services, turning your ideas into realities.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Back in action here. Crown Point with the ball right now. The give to Ritchie, who pulls up for three and connects. Her first three since the second quarter.
Dogs are still fighting.
She's got 23 on the afternoon. Does Ava Ritchie.
Yeah, and I'm not sure at this point if you're Norwell. We don't need to be shooting. You don't need to be shooting.
No, just passing it around, just trying to eat some clock here as they drive to the basket. I believe it was Rossworm. Nope, it was Southrank who drives to the basket. It'll be the fourth foul on Ivy Henderson here. So with 2:25.
Norwell going to start getting some people in, it looks like.
Southrank can't connect on the first free throw. Norris steps out. They'll have a check-in here. Haley Williamson checks in. And the winner of this one will face McCutcheon tonight for the semi-state championship with the right to go down to Indianapolis on the line. Give to Menchaca underneath, who can't get the right roll off the window, a little too strong. Dale kicks it off into the right wing for Sal Frank, who drives to that left elbow. Now Williamson hands it off to Dale at the top of the key. Back to Williamson, hit under 2 minutes. Henderson with a nice block up top. Give down to Ritchie in the left wing. Stops at the left block. Gets smothered. Williamson comes in and tries to get the ball. Ritchie pulls it away, but it's going to be Norwell ball with the possession arrow.
Just played a good game today.
But that right there, you talk about that heart. I mean, obviously our viewers can't see it, but Ritchie just ripped that out of the hands of Williamson, says this is going to be mine, even though he's going to go to Norwell. But that's just that underrated toughness that teams will play with and not, just give up in the game, as Punic steals the inbound and puts it right in.
Yeah, Punic's made a couple of good plays today, competing down with the, girls bigger than her. She's and you hate to say this, but if you're Crown Point, you got to be, looking back on this, you're ecstatic, right? You just won the regional, and that's a great year. But I don't like to have conversations like that, because you got Sophie Hart, you got Menchaca, you got Maddie Johnson that are seniors, and for them, this is definitely the end of their high school basketball careers, but the future's bright at Crown Point.
Yeah, no question about that. It's tough for seniors to see their
nice pass.
Oh, what a pass to Henderson underneath. Yeah, I mean, careers are going to end today. Maybe play at the next level somewhere. Maybe just play in rec leagues or whatever the case may be. But it's always tough when your high school career comes to an end, and
absolutely
the emotion comes to it. So we'll stay here on this timeout with about $1:20 left to play.
And the other angle that I think about in that is, that's 6 parents that are sitting out here in the bleachers right now thinking about when they took their kid to biddy basketball at the Y, and when they were going to the courts, and when they were going to all these other teams, places for AAU tournaments. It's a big change for a family, especially when it's your last one. When your last one's done playing, at some point I recall turning and looking at my wife and going, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah, what are you going to do with your time now?
We don't have a practice to go to, or we don't have to take somebody to weights, or and it's a big change, for most of these girls, probably in a town like Crown Point. They've been playing basketball since they were really little. They say it takes a village, right? And they've had a lot of different coaches along the way, and it's when it comes to an end, it's emotional, right? Nobody wants to lose, but I tend to think about it now a little bit from the parent angle.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned, what are you going to do with your time now if you're not driving to this or that? Imagine that camaraderie that you have in the bleachers. You make friends with the other parents that you've been with for years. How are you going to get together now? You're going to have to, find ways to get together instead of just seeing each other. And it's the same thing for the students. Once senior year is over, you're not going to see a lot of these people again, right? And it's just different. And that culmination. And usually I would say it hits me more at the end of a baseball, softball season, because that's kind of the culmination of the school year too. I often forget about that with football and basketball season, just because we still have part of the school year left. So, but that's a great point that you bring up. Like, and some of these girls may go on and play some softball, so like their athletic lives aren't done yet. They still have softball or, track and field or whatever may be the next venture.
It's never a good feeling, for these Crown Point girls. Today for a couple of them, it's going to be the last time they ever pull off a Bulldog jersey and get on that bus and ride home with this particular team. So there's definitely some sadness to it.
But I would say if I'm any of these seniors, whether it's Maddie Johnson or Menchaca or whoever it might be, Sophie Hart, yes, those are all good points, but at the same time, too, I can look proudly. If this team comes out and wins a state title in the next couple years, you helped build that program. You helped build that foundation. You may not be on the team that, won that. You may not get the ring, but you deserve one because you helped be a part of that program that got to these girls getting to that monumental occasion.
Well, and you had mentioned earlier comparing somebody to Jessica, and I mean, listen to me, I'm referring to her as Jessica, like she's she's magic or Larry. That group was, when they were playing, these were the little kids, right, that were watching Lena Santiago dive on the floor after loose balls and all the amazing things that Jessica and that group did, and the Stoddards, and it reminds me of like when I was in high school, Crown Point girls basketball was really, really good, and then there was that the generation behind them that saw the Kovachkovs and the Cowans and the world of those guys playing. As it once you get success, you'd like to think that it feeds the younger people in the community to want to be a part of something like this.
Oh, there's no question. I actually talked to a couple years ago after the state title. I talked to Coach Seibert about that and the growth of, as Henderson goes to the line here after a foul, she knocks the first free throw down. 40 seconds of action still to play here, but Henderson knocking down both free throws, so that heart and hustle is still there for so many as more start to come out onto the floor, including Alea Menchaca, who's one of those seniors on the team.
Well, and we talked about it a little bit earlier about Bill DeRilla retiring. Brad Stengel's a perfect example. That's a pretty good hire.
And right? Not too shabby, yeah.
His first year to win 24 games and make it to semi-state. Look at him. He's coaching his butt off with 30 seconds to go. They're down 13, and he's still coaching like this game's tied. So I think all the Crown Point people can rest assured that the program's in good hands.
So he's doing a little offense-defense, switching things up, leaving some of his as he gets Ivy Henderson back in here.
Get in there.
Menchaca pulls for three, hits the window, and we are down to the final 30 seconds. Rossworm still having to fight a lot of pressure from this Crown Point Bulldog team, who, as you said, we mentioned earlier, this team is not going to be a team that is just going to fold. They're still going to give you the pressure that if they were in a closer game, they would provide as well. Foul was on Amaya Menchaca. First free throw good for Rossworm. But yeah, no, I was talking to Coach Coach Seibert when he was, still coaching, and yeah, he was ecstatic to see, but he knew that these girls that were in the stadium watching or were at least watching on TV or wherever, because I can't remember I think only families were allowed in that state championship game because that was still just post-COVID, as the Crown Point faithful will stand and cheer for their team as well as the Norwell Knights.
Yeah, and you got Brooklyn Langens getting an opportunity to get in a game here, and some other. Unfortunately, they all have long hair, and I can't see the numbers on the back of their jerseys.
Well, we do see Maddie
Johnson's in. Yep.
Along with Alea Menchaca. I know Maddie Wold is out there as well.
Gerzich.
Rihanna Rich is out there, for the Crown Point Bulldogs. So their names will officially be entered into the stats. Whether they score a point or not, they get playing time in the semi-state game.
And if it's me, if I touch it, it's going up.
I'm putting up the shot. All right.
I don't care from where. I'm getting an attempt right now.
You're turning into Steph Curry. Okay.
No, I'm just turning into. I'm going to try to get some.
Well, I know if you put it up, it's going in. I already know that.
I got to foul somebody or something at this point to get some credit for being in this bad boy.
Well, the minutes are going to be.
And I tell you what, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to come here tonight and want to watch Norwell again. The Archibalds.
Well, that'll do it. 63-48, your final. Norwell with the win and will advance to the semi-state championship. We're going to step aside for just a moment. When we return, we'll wrap up this Crown Point season, and we'll give you our award winners on the other side of the break. You are listening to Game Day on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Have you heard? Stratford-Mantell was voted Best of the Region 2025 in several categories, including Best Caterer, Deli, Flower Shop, Food and Grocery Delivery, Fried Chicken, Place to Buy Produce, Place to Buy Seafood, Loyalty Program, and Grocery Store. We're proud to be recognized by our community, and we're committed to continuing to deliver the variety, value, and convenience you deserve. See for yourself what it means to be the best when you shop at Stratford-Mantell.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Can't wait for summer, but dreading the heat because your old AC let you down? Don't sweat it out this summer. Call Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. The professionals there can fix you up. Install a central air unit that'll last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable. And with a 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Give them a call at 219-923-4441 or check them out on the web at 4ajobdoneright.com.
IBEW Local 697 isn't just wiring buildings. We're woven into the very fabric of Northwest Indiana. We're your neighbors. Our kids go to school with yours. We stand in the same bleachers cheering for the same high school teams. When you hire a union electrician, you're not just getting the highest quality work. You're supporting our community. IBEW Local 697, proudly powering our own.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialists.
Sick of winter? Golf season is almost here. Book the cabin and enjoy the region's best all-inclusive private golf getaway, featuring 2 rounds at Innsbrook Country Club, plus dinner, breakfast, and cozy lodging, all for just $500 per person.
Welcome back to Game Day here on the Region Sports Network. Appreciate you tuning in today. Unfortunately, the score not where Crown Point wanted it to be, but the effort was there, and there's going to be a lot of history made with this group over the next couple of years as they competed in a semi-state semifinal tonight. Aspirations still going to be sky high over the next couple of years as the Crown Point Bulldogs fall today 63-48. Let's go ahead and go to our award winners for today. Let's start with our Crow Company's Lantern Man Superhero of the game. They are proud to recognize the superheroes on the basketball court.
This our MVP, huh? Well, I'd say it'd be hard to not be Ava Ritchie. I mean, she handled pressure, double teams the entire game, scored 23 points, hit a handful of three-pointers. Sophomore's got a bright future. She had a great day today, and it's not the last we've heard from her.
No, certainly not. So, yeah, Ava Ritchie finishing with those 23 points, really kind of putting on a show in that second half or in the second quarter as well. The 4 triples and then had one more to end things out in the last quarter, but just had a really stellar game overall, and we're still going to get to see 2 more years of her as a young sophomore. Our Boilermakers Local 374 Blue Collar Player of the Game. Learn about apprenticeship programs and more at local374.org. Where would you like to go with this one?
Well, for me, that one's a no-brainer. I think Sydney Hale. Sydney Hale had got the chore of chasing Rossworm around the entire game, but she competed on the boards, and all of them did. You know, Punic was tough all day today, but Hale had to chase around Rossworm, who's a load. I mean, in this Norwell team, don't forget, if they win tonight, they're going to be playing in their 3rd state championship game in a row. Like that's, I don't know that there's a lot of teams in history that have done that, and for Hale as a sophomore to get that assignment, and for her to, Rossworm, she did end up getting 20, but she scored 6 in about the last minute. So,
correct.
Hale did a nice job.
A lot of free throws towards the end of that second half as well. So perfect candidate for our Boilermakers Local 374 Blue Collar Player of the Game. And now it's time for the Proud Union Home Play of the Game presented by Ironworkers Local 395. To find out how you can become a union ironworker, visit ironworkers395.com.
But I think, to me, it was was a struggle early offensively for Crown Point, but they started being able to hit some diagonal passes, penetrate into the lane, and the one that stuck out to me the most was Seibert driving baseline, getting it to Punick in the middle, who a little touch, no-look pass to Henderson for a layup. Beautiful, where, 3 people touching the ball in a 1-second span. That was, I don't know. It's Norwell's good. I mean, it's at the end of the day, sometimes it's not that we played bad or that, it's just the other team's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so if you're Crown Point, you say goodbye to 3 seniors and their families, and you sit the rest of them down next week and say, all right, we were 20 minutes away from where we wanted to be and an opportunity to do that. We need to refocus, because our goals now are to get back, right?
Yep,
at minimum to get back. And everybody else's goal is to beat you and not let you get back. So at some point in their life, they're going to be able to look back and think, this was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no question about it. Couldn't agree more.
It's not going to be today.
Nope, but they'll appreciate it once they're a little bit older and, reflect on everything that took place on this run here this season, the memories that were created, the bonds that were created over the course of this season and in this game in general. Our executive producer is Chris Ramirez, our operations manager, Rich Castillo, our coordinating producer, Zach Miller, our sports director, and our producer on site today, the great Mike DeWan. Your broadcast crew tonight, myself, Michael Brenner, along with the great Wally McCormick, who drops a lot of really great stories as well on former Norwell players. So you need Norwell history. Wally McCormick's your guy for that going forward. Special thanks to coaches Eric Thornton and Brad Stengel from Norwell and Crown Point, respectively. And then along with Kelly Waybright for Norwell, the athletic director, Kelly Waybright for Norwell, Bill DeRula from Crown Point, and then Steve Santana here at LaPorte. Jeff Sherman as well. Big thanks to him for getting us everything we needed, along with you, the viewers, on regionsports.com, YouTube, Facebook, IHSAA TV, wherever you may be tuning in from. Thank you very much from all of us here at the Region Sports Network. We got plenty more wrestling coverage coming out throughout the course of the day. Championship matches tonight. And then, of course, we got more boys action right around the corner. Before you know it, sectionals for them. The sectional draw show tomorrow for the boys' side of things. So plenty of action still to come here on the Region Sports Network. That's why we've been around for 25 years, and it's because you, the listeners, keep on pushing us to keep getting better and better, and just like the Crown Point Bulldogs are going to do over the next couple of years. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you soon right here on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Tonight's broadcast is made possible by Strachan Van Til, your favorite Indiana-made grocery store. Ironworkers Local 395, proud to be union. Four Seasons Mechanical, quality and comfort is our guarantee. Boilermakers Local 374, earn while you learn. IBEW Local 697, proud to support high school sports. Bricklayers Local 4, the best hands in the business. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and cozy in the winter. The Right Group, the right way to buy and sell real estate. Mark Machnick, Chicagoland Tax Professionals. Blythe's Team Sports, where the athlete shops. And Hampton Inn, downtown Indianapolis. This is the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.